Welcome to Power On with Epsilon, where we talk about people, ideas, and innovations that are powering growth at Epsilon Group. Today, we have with us a gentleman who's truly been at the heart of the battery materials revolution at the company, and that's Mr. Sunit Kapur, who's the CEO of Epsilon Advanced Materials. So, Mr. Sunit, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Sahil. Thanks for having me.
Great. So let's dive right in. Firstly, we want to go to the very beginning and we want to understand how did the company even enter the battery material space? What was the gap you saw and how did that start?
Now, great question. We as a company, we started as a carbon black producer. And, if you happen to be in our company, sustainability is in the core of what we do in our carbon black operation. There was an opportunity, one, seeing the opportunity on the energy transition.
Right.
So clearly, being a carbon black producer to getting into a clean energy transition enabler. So that was one, one insight for us for looking in the future. Second one was more looking at inside in our carbon black production to have a chance to forward integrate it.
Right.
So we came up with a novel idea to make our own precursor and forward integrate our current operations of carbon black, doing distillation, creating a special quality of pitch, and that acts as a feedstock for our Epsilon Advanced Material, and then convert it into active anode material. That was more the motivation to do forward integration of our business,
Right.
and entering into the clean energy space.
Interesting. So can you go a little deeper in terms of what are the product segments that you are building? What are the markets that you're serving right now in the company?
So from Epsilon Advanced Material point of view, our products are, obviously for BEV, battery electric vehicle, energy storage system, also into the electronics, the mobile phones, the electronics media. Our major focus is more on the BEV and energy storage space. So that's what we are focusing on.
So given that there's a big boom in the EV and ESS industry, there's a lot of chatter about battery materials, especially synthetic versus natural graphite. So what is the segment that Epsilon is focusing on and how does that work exactly?
So like I said, I think our focus is battery electric vehicle and energy storage system. We have not formed any technology partnership with any company in China. This space is heavily dominated by China.
Right.
Because all the processing today for 100%, nearly 100% of the synthetic graphite is coming from China, and nearly 96 to 97% of overall active anode material is also processed in China. There's small production outside China for natural graphite. The process we developed, it's our own patented technology, starting from a precursor to, which is a synthetic graphite precursor. So starting from synthetic graphite precursor to finished material, it's our own patented technology, and the process is agnostic to do natural and synthetic both.
Right. And I believe Epsilon has built India's first anode manufacturing facility. That's very interesting. And I think it's one of the firsts in India.
It's one of the first in India. It's actually one of the first globally as well, because outside China. That's very exciting.
Right.
We call it the Epsilon Advanced Material Plant 1.
Right.
So that is already operational. It's operational since last 1 year plus, since March of 2024. That's a 2,000-ton production plant, which has brought in a lot of credibility since I mentioned that the processing is 100% dependent today on one country, and having a plant on the ground delivering commercial scale production to the customers is bringing a lot of credibility to Epsilon.
Correct. Yeah, that's huge. So what does that mean for India's battery supply chain and our energy independence? Because that's a very big conversation right now.
Right. I think Indian government did a lot of work, starting with on the mining side, because mining law was changed after probably 5-6 decades in India. And then India also started this PLI scheme on the advanced cell chemistry. While there has not been a lot of work done on the upstream manufacturing, but at least on the downstream side, Indian government has done a lot of work.
Right.
Clearly to support the energy transition. So there's a move which is going on. There's a huge demand on the energy storage system. There's a demand which is kind of brewing on the two-wheeler side, three-wheeler side. There's a good transition which has happened there. And now the transition is happening more on the passenger car side. So I think entering into this market, preparing ourselves on the upstream manufacturing, has been very, very exciting because we are the first one to have a plant on the ground and support the local industry and also export from India. I mean, I think we think that India has a huge export potential. India has good collaboration with the Western world, and our cost is quite competitive, our capex is quite competitive, and we have our own technology. We are not dependent on anybody. So we think India can be a first to deliver the local demand and then also to export to the global market.
So you are optimistic that India can become totally energy independent going forward with the
Oh,
work.
absolutely. Absolutely. It will take time, but I think we are on the right path.
That's excellent
Yeah.
news. So you have also opened up facilities in locations like the US, Finland, Germany. So those are very strategic locations. So what's the thinking behind these, and what does it mean for your global strategy?
So Sahil, our Epsilon's philosophy is to serve the global customers with a local supply base.
Right.
When I said that India will be export house, we think it's for a shorter term duration. We think the demand in India will be big. We are setting up a plant 100,000 tons, which will scale up to 100,000 tons in India, which is closer to 100 gigawatt of cell supply.
Right.
So we think that the demand will be much higher than this, and we'll have a market share in India and will deliver to the local market. When I talk about the export out of India, is for a shorter term. So we want to build a supply chain locally for our global customers, mainly the automotive customers, but also the energy storage space customers. So that's why we selected the location in the US to deal with the North America market, and then we decided Finland to deal with the European market. There's a lot of other considerations which go behind getting into these locations, but the primary objective was to serve our global customers in the local geography.
Right. And there's a lot of conversation right now about trade wars and tariffs, and we heard that recently China imposed restrictions on graphite exports. So what does that mean for the global graphite market, and is that an opportunity for Epsilon?
You know what? I think China has done a great job over the last 2 decades, 2+ decades to develop this market. That's a very mature market. The vehicle population, 55% has moved to the battery electric. So obviously they are kind of the leaders in this one. At the same time, it's not about China. I think relying on any one country is kind of a wrong strategy.
Right.
In some countries, it's called a national security issue because you're just relying on one country, and the country decides to, put a restriction on exports. Your whole industry comes to a screeching halt.
Correct.
So it's not one time. China in the last, I would say 16 months has put in export restrictions 3 times.
Okay.
And every time there's export restriction coming, it is making it much more difficult for the high power applications. I would say for the low power applications, it still is okay from China, but they're making it much more tougher to export high power applications, which are mainly for the battery electric vehicle.
Right.
So clearly there is a need to establish the local supply chain, and US is pushing very hard. The US government is pushing very hard to establish that local supply chain, and I think Indian government, with what I just mentioned, to have the PLI scheme, which is linked to local sourcing, is all going away from the reliance on one country.
Right.
So it's not just China. I mean, it's just a reliance on any one country is not the right strategy.
So I mean, even though it may be short term pain, it in the long term,
Yeah,
good outcomes for us.
absolutely.
Great. So let's now shift gears to some insider stories about the company. So can you talk about any pivotal moment which totally changed the trajectory of the business?
So the pivotal moment for us, Sahil, was the time in 2018 when we came up with the idea to do our own precursor.
Right.
Like I said, we are a carbon black producer, and our process has coal tar as a feedstock, which is coming from a steel plant. We buy coal tar from different steel plants. We distill it, and we came up with an idea through the distillation, come up with a special quality of pitch, and then forward integrate it to make it our own precursor. That's how the company started. So the idea about when the idea sparked that hey, we are not reliant on any feedstock coming from outside. It's all internal. So the circularity within the business to get a special quality of pitch, convert it into a precursor. While you convert it into a precursor, there's a byproduct which is coming out, which goes back to our parent company. So everything is getting consumed within the company.
Right.
So with zero discharge out of the company. highly circular business. We generate waste gases, which we converted into power in our company. So that's how the whole thing started, that we can forward integrate our business and get into active anode material, especially being a carbon black producer to, getting into a energy transition enabler.
Right.
I think that was a defining moment for us.
Fantastic. I've always read about circularity in
Yeah.
engineering, and I always thought it's very theoretical, but to see it actually happening at this scale is quite a thing.
Yeah, we did our sustainability report for our current business and our future business. So when we compare ourselves, like I said, the 100%, nearly 100% of the synthetic graphite processing is happening in China. So we are anywhere between 75% to 83% below China.
Okay.
So that's a huge number.
Right.
So I think one is that we all know battery electric vehicle or lithium-ion batteries. I mean, they're an energy transition enabler, getting clean energy. But to produce materials which are getting into lithium-ion battery in a sustainable way is a big thing.
Right.
So our carbon footprint today is in a low single digit in all our three sites.
Right.
And comparison to what in China, in an average Chinese plant, it's in high 20s.
Right. Right.
So,
Interesting.
so that's an exciting one.
Mhm. So in the previous shows that we have had, one thing that constantly comes up is that collaboration is a key value at the company. So I want to ask you, now that the company is expanding globally, across geographies, across different skill sets, it becomes more and more difficult to ensure that collaboration happens. So how do you look at it, and how do you ensure that it happens across teams?
So two ways. I think one is collaboration outside. Though we do not, like I said, we don't have any technology partnership. We have our own patented technology, but still, we have our process is agnostic to three different precursors, including natural graphite. So having that collaboration with the external stakeholders, where we are getting the raw material or precursor, that's one in different geographies. Doesn't mean just in India.
Right.
But also having global teams, which so we started hiring people in the US, we started hiring people in Finland.
Right.
Getting that culture across between India and US and Finland, I think that's a key part. And having one team concept is a very important one. It's easier said than done, but it takes a toll.
I'm sure.
So I think we are kind of living that as we speak. So we're building teams today,
Right.
as we are getting into industrialization both in the US and India.
Right.
So we build global teams, and I think getting them together is one task.
Correct. I'm sure your global exposure must be helping quite a lot in this.
It is definitely.
So the work that you do sits at the crossroads of science, tech, and sustainability. So what are some of the attitudes and mindsets that you look for when trying to build a winning team that can crack this entire thing?
I think having a passion to win is an important one, but also having a passion on the material science, like you just said. I mean, it's you need to have that passion to see the end use. It's
Right.
not just processing the material. So processing is one, getting into the manufacturing unit. But what we look into our teams is that, I mean, lithium-ion battery is unknown outside few geographies. So it's not about, you being an expert in the lithium-ion battery, but that passion to learn, that passion to get into the, the metallurgical side of it, the material side of it is what we are looking for. And then also the passion to win,
Right.
which is very important.
Of course. So do you recall a time in the journey of the company where some person may have come up with some idea or some mindset shift that, literally left a ripple in the organization and changed the way you think about things or do things?
So like I said, I'm repeating myself, but like I said, we have a gentleman who lived in Osaka, Japan, and he came up with the idea to make our own precursor. That's where we started the journey, and that is where the whole idea began.
Right.
That we can forward integrate our own material and make our own precursor. So having a vertically backward integrated plant, we are the only one in the world. So there's no other plant which is backward integrated to that extent. And backward integration to a point where our parent company is also backward integrated, since we are located in the same campus as a steel plant. So we are also backward integrated there.
Correct.
So that circularity is driving force.
Right. And speaking of that, is there any sustainability initiative that you have taken which exceeded all expectations and really surprised you?
So we use coke oven gas in our Epsilon carbon business which is coming as a waste gas out of our JSW steel plant. So we're buying that and we are using it as a fuel there. All the waste gases which are being produced by both specialty carbon and carbon black and our Epsilon Advanced Material business, that is, we are converting it into power.
Right.
So we have a 17 gigawatt power, energy manufacturing, so which we do it in house. So we produce our own power, and then which is enough to power our whole campus today for both advanced material and also for the carbon black business.
That's very interesting. So now we'll get a little personal. So to begin with, if you had to say what are the ingredients of a great team, if you could define that in just 3-4 words, what would those be?
I think the great team is. First of all, I'm very passionate about the teams. I do think the team will win the goal. It's not an individual who's going to win the goal. So for me, it's the trust. I think if you're building trust, it's mutual respect, and then helping the team to achieve their aspirations as well. So to me, that's a great team which you build,
Right.
and great teams will win the goal.
In one line, what's the philosophy that defines your leadership style?
In one word, servant leadership.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
I can elaborate a little bit more on
sure,
this.
please.
I feel I've worked 30 plus years in the industry. I think I'm at a time when my own leadership style is more about coaching people, help them think big, and then help them achieve that.
Right. Very nice. As people enter the workforce, I think coaching is the number one most important and underserved thing. So it's
I
good to know
completely agree.
that you're following that style. And one last thing, what are you most excited about on what's in store in the future of this journey?
It's we started this journey in 2018. We really started. We had our pilot plant which was installed in 2021, and then since last 5 years we've been working really hard to crack the black box which has been dominated by one country. So current. If we look at our current achievement, we are qualified with the major non-Chinese cell manufacturers, and getting into a phase when you're getting into industrialization and setting up these capacities globally. So we've announced 220,000 capacity globally between India, US and Finland, and we are also looking at expanding further in the US. So but our first phase capacity is now we're looking at breaking ground end of this year and having our first phase capacity installed in India and US by 2027. So excited to see that dream coming true.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today. It was great to learn about the journey of Epsilon Advanced Materials.
Thank you, Sahil. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And stay tuned for more conversations and inside stories from Epsilon Group.